As old friends ditch them, Europe is looking for new ones, and this search has brought them to India. Today, the EU president arrived in New Delhi. Her name is Ursula von der Leyen. This is a third trip to India, but arguably the most important yet, because von der Leyen is not traveling alone. She has brought a party with her. The entire EU College of Commissioners. This is the EU's political leadership. This college is made up of 27 senior politicians. They're all here in India, led by the EU President Ursula von der Leyen. So this trip is in fact unprecedented because the EU College has never visited India before. It's clearly a statement of intent. The EU President visited Rajghat today. She laid a wreath at Mahatma Gandhi's memorial. Afterwards, she met India's Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar. Tomorrow, she will meet India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So it's going to be a packed two-day trip. And what is the EU hoping to achieve here? There are three main objectives. Number one is to deepen political ties. Trump's return has unsettled the Europeans, so they're looking for more options. That is the first option, the first aim, rather. Number two is a trade deal. And number three, expanding strategic cooperation. I'm talking about things like IMEC, the India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. Now, let's take a closer look at these objectives. The first, like we said, is the political one. Europe spent decades under America's umbrella, both military and financial. But Donald Trump is snatching that away. Suddenly, Europe finds itself without a godfather, so Brussels is being forced to make new friends. Hence, this pivot to India. They could also use this trip to pick up some tips. After all, Prime Minister Modi has handled Trump well. But the Europeans are still struggling to figure out a strategy. So the EU has a lot to gain here, which is why they have abandoned all their previous concerns. Listen to what the EU president said today.
We seek to deepen ties with one of our most trusted friends and allies, India. Europe and India are like-minded partners, bound by the shared conviction that democracy best serves the people.
Well, this is the same EU that criticized India on Manipur, that talked about religious freedoms in India. But see how the language has changed now. The EU is calling India their most trusted friend and ally. As for New Delhi, the position has always been clear and consistent. India wants closer ties with Europe. In the last 1 year, Prime Minister Modi visited 5 European countries, which is a clear indication of priorities. So that is the first objective. The second one is trade. This is all the more significant because of Donald Trump. The US has threatened both India and the EU with tariffs, so it makes sense to band up. Right now, the EU is India's largest trading partner. Total value is around $137 billion, which is 12% of India's overall trade. It's also 90% up over the last decade. The key is to expand this. I'm talking about a free trade deal. India and the EU began free trade talks way back in the year 2008. The discussions were then paused in 2013. They were resumed 9 years later in 2022. Even now, differences remain. The EU is pushing for more market access. It wants India to reduce tariffs, especially on things like cars and alcohol. But India has certain demands too. For example, the EU imposes high tariffs on high carbon goods, things like steel, aluminium and cement. New Delhi wants those to be reduced. It also wants protection for its small and medium industries. If not, they could be smothered by European ones. India also wants more access to the labor market, basically to send skilled workers to Europe. But that means loosening regulation. And these are just some of the key demands. If they're sorted, this could be a significant deal, arguably India's most important one yet. So trade is the second objective. Finally, the third objective, and that is strategic cooperation. The EU has promised to de-risk from China, but they need alternatives. New places to set up supply chains and production. Enter India. The IMEC is a key part of this mission. It would reduce the cost and time for India-Europe trade. For New Delhi, defense will be a key issue. India is looking to diversify its military purchases, and Europe is looking to expand their military production. Both visions clearly match. If you combine all of this, one thing becomes clear. This is a big opportunity for both sides, India and Europe. This relationship always had potential, but it's not been harnessed. Now, with Donald Trump in the White House, it is more of a necessity. We'll be tracking the meetings closely for you.
Merci beaucoup. Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Namaste, Mr. President.
Bharat Kelogon, Komeri Namaste.
How many people generally follow you in interviews?
Typically, in a month, we have viewers up to 150 million. That's more than twice the population of France. And in the last 2 years, we had 3 billion viewers. So I say, Laurent, this is your chance to be famous. You're on Firstpost. One word to describe your equation with Prime Minister Modi.
Amitié.
As India and France work together, are you creating a new era of non-alignment in the technology space?
India is a training superpower. 1 million engineers a year, more than all of Europe and the US combined. So we have that partnership. We have a partnership on the environment and the economy. We also have civilian nuclear programs, and that is something we've developed far beyond the France-India relationship. So we want to work together on AI.
And then comes China with its DeepSeek, creating models at a fraction of the cost. Did that innovation take you by surprise? Did that breakthrough make you sit up and think, what did the Chinese do and how?
But what did DeepSeek do? They took everything that was already available from the last AI model, and then they recalibrated it.
So are you going to ban Chinese AI in France?
So we don't have this American approach of banning tech because of where it comes from.